welcome to this week's DSS Break. It's great to have you with us today here. We're here live every week to discuss the fascinating world of data science, AI, and machine learning, and we chat about unique experiences and best practices with leading data professionals in a 15-minute break. I'm Anna, the founder of DSS, and today I'm streaming here directly from our headquarters, which is located near the heart of the design district, which is right in the middle of Miami. And I'm really excited about today's guest, who is an absolute powerhouse in the realm of algorithms and AI. And she's actually right here in Miami as well on the beach. So please meet Alexandra. And she is the forefront of tracking a system and wearing the hat of principal algorithms AI engineer at Elbit Systems of America. And Alexandra has a noteworthy background, and she served as a VP of analytics at an ag tech startup, and she also honored her skills as a signal processing engineer at Raytheon Missile Systems. And on the academic front, she is a mechanical engineering graduate from the University of Florida, again, locally here, and she holds a patent in image restoration, which is super impressive. Alexandra, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So you have such an impressive background. I wanted to kind of learn a little bit more about what inspired you to enter the field of AI, especially such a technical field, and that in computer vision specifically.
Yeah, sure. So my background is a little bit less conventional. My path to pursuing computer vision and AI hasn't not necessarily been linear. So I have always been interested in both the arts and in technology, and I wasn't really sure how to put the two together. I kind of had this vision when I was younger of doing kinematic installations or something like that, so I decided to go to school for mechanical engineering. And in the process of getting my education in mechanical engineering, I was exposed to kind of repeatedly image processing and signal processing on different projects and academic research and in internships. And I kind of found that was the most interesting thing, so kept following that. I was able to get a job in industry as a signal processing engineer. And when I entered industry, it was kind of right at that inflection point where we are transitioning from using more classical signal processing and computer vision methods to AI and machine learning computer vision methods. So it was very cool to be there at that big transition, and I kind of saw just how powerful those algorithms could be and the performance improvements that we were able to achieve doing those. So I just kind of followed that interest, and here I am.
Cool. No, that's a really cool story. So you can be creative and also technical. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I think that's great to hear for some people that are, I feel like, maybe afraid of entering the space, right? So maybe for some of folks that are not really sure about computer vision, maybe you can share some use cases that would be common for people to know and recognize every day.
Yeah. So computer vision, I mean, it kind of sounds scary, but it's really everywhere. So we're very dependent on our phones and on our cameras. And if you use a phone or if you consume really any form of visual media, you're probably interacting with a computer vision algorithm. There's in movies, computer vision algorithms are now that's how we're doing special effects. And streaming services, we need different computer vision image processing algorithms to facilitate like the compression of different visual media. But even when you're taking a picture on your phone camera, that photo is kind of the culmination of thousands and thousands of hours that have been spent developing these signal processing and computer vision algorithms that are giving you the quality of an image that you're used to. So those they're doing everything from enhancing like the hue and the saturation to correcting for low light conditions, noise correction. If you are kind of moving around when you're taking a picture and it comes out clear, that's an AI computer vision algorithm correcting the stabilization. So it's really very well integrated kind of to every part of our lives.
That's really cool. Yeah, it seems like literally like it's like everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, everywhere where you see a picture, there's probably some kind of computer vision behind the scenes, at least now.
Cool. And what are some of the most kind of common pitfalls data scientists encounter when sourcing data for computer vision models that you've seen?
Yeah, so a lot of the models that we develop in the computer vision world are kind of for highly specified purposes. So you a lot of time we'll run into the problem of either having not enough data or like not the right kinds of data or poorly annotated data um, or like the storage of that data is so messy. Image files can be really, really large. So I was just doing a transfer that took over a day. So,
Oh, wow.
sometimes these files can be really huge. And if you're sifting through so many of them, there can be a lot of junk, and you need to make sure that you're not using the kind of junk unless you intend to in your models. And so, for example, if you're making like a very basic classification algorithm that's trained to classify dogs or something, and you have only one species of dog accounted for, that could potentially be like an incomplete data set. So we have a lot of different methods that we can use to augment that data. A lot in defense, a lot of time we turn to simulation, but there are also like data sets available open source online and stuff too. So
Cool. No, that seems like really complicated, but it seems like there's solutions to those problems as well out there, right? So
it is complicated, but it's actually kind of fueled a whole industry of. So earlier this year, I was doing a panel with Galileo, and that's a really good example of their whole business model is making software that can kind of correct the defects of your databases for training computer vision models. So that's just an example, but this kind of turned into its own industry that they're now using their own computer vision models and algorithms to clean your data to put into your computer vision algorithm. So it's kind of interesting.
yeah, no, that is. It's just, yeah, I feel like it's getting more interesting as we can get in more into it, right? Could you
Yeah.
share maybe a success story where improving data quality significantly enhanced the performance of one of your models?
Yeah. So last year, I was pretty heavily involved on this helicopter program. And the purpose of this program is to increase situational awareness and eventually safety for the helicopter pilot. So we're using all different types of sensors, data fusion and computer vision algorithms to identify obstacles, especially the obstacles that are the most lethal for helicopters. So this thing is, the blades are rotating. You can imagine that power lines, phone poles, those types of things are the most lethal obstacles. Also, so we're using LiDAR here. And in the world of passive sensing, if something has a smaller cross section, so it's like a wire or a pole or something, it's harder to see. Right. So we have all these models. Oh, also LiDAR is very large data sets. So training these models and curating the data takes quite a bit of time. So we started out with a much older LiDAR and older models that were able to identify some obstacles, but had trouble with the more difficult ones. And so we got a new LiDAR that performs better. It has a higher DPI, or how many resolution, really. So we got this newer LiDAR, and as opposed to retraining our models, we're actually able to leverage that older model using transfer learning and only kind of retrain the necessary parts. But having that, the better performing LiDAR, the newer model, was really very important in order to get us to be able to actually detect those the most lethal obstacles, like the phone poles and the wires. So
right. No, that sounds like it's like life or death kind of a situation. Yeah. So yeah,
it really can be. It can be, yeah. And sometimes it's just getting a newer sensor and knowing how to train your models effectively.
And so, where would you get your sensors usually? Is that something that is already pre-made that you buy?
Yeah, we have a supplier for our LiDAR sensors. Some of them we make depending on the sensor type, like some of them we make in-house, but our LiDAR, we have a supplier.
Cool. Awesome. But not everybody could just get a sensor, right? This is like special, like.
Depends how much money you have. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. And what would be your top recommendations for data scientists who are just starting out in computer vision? Like, especially, I know that we've been talking a lot about data quality here. So like, what are some of tips, I guess, if you can't get a new sensor, if you don't have the budget for that, like, what can you recommend?
Yeah, so I think my biggest recommendation just across the board is to leverage what's out there. I'm largely self-taught, and not to disregard my experience, that's been critical, but on a lot of these things I really am self-taught, and the things that you can learn just from kind of looking at data sets on Kaggle or something, for example, and try to replicate how they're organizing things or in their schemas, or reading a Medium article and seeing how they set up their CI pipeline so that you don't have to keep retraining your models over and over and lose a lot of time doing that. There's really so much information out there, and there's really no reason to kind of let perfect be the enemy of good. So I think making these incremental improvements is really critical. Also, just concerning specifically data quality, there are a lot of tools out there, like I mentioned. So if the manual tagging and data pruning process, it can be kind of cumbersome, and it can be kind of time consuming. And if you're someone just starting off, you might not necessarily want to spend like 60% of your time making your model on just tagging your data and making sure there aren't duplicates and things like that. And you have like the right proportions of different types of data, so you're not introducing biases and things like that. There's a lot to consider. So I think that the best thing that someone just starting out can do is to really like look at the tools and the best practices that are around.
Cool. Well, that kind of goes into my last question for you, as far as those like best practices and tools and other people or other practitioners that people should follow. Maybe you can make some recommendations for that too.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I follow. My main source of like articles. I'm a big Medium person, so I'll search whatever kind of I'm interested in, and there are so many different data scientists, and you can see kind of their credentials and what companies they work for and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily have one specifically, but yeah, I like to find new people in the space through Medium articles, and also through like some of the DSS events. I've met people and stuff, and that's been really cool and educational for me as well.
Cool. No, thank you for that. And, I think it's been really nice to spend time together. And thank you so much for sharing your really awesome experience with us. It's been a pleasure, and really excited that, gosh, I can't believe that it's going to be next in a couple of days. Yeah. In a couple of days, we're going to see Alex at, DSS Miami on Tuesday. So if you guys haven't registered yet, it's going to be live streamed. So if you can't make it in person, then you could definitely watch it online. So it's going to be really a lot of fun. We come together once a year here. We are local. We're going to be in San Francisco and then New York before the end of the year. But this is very special because we are local. We love to bring together the local community. So we're really excited to see everybody next week. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the week.
Thank you.